We back with a quick one. We're gonna do what is this? Ball short. Short oddball. Oddball short. I don't know, man. But we back at it. It's your boy Marc Jay. One half for the oddball, that iPod, everything in between, you know what I mean? Now, appreciate the love, the follows. Got a big game today against Virginia, but I wanted to check in on something that was not football. It's sacrilegious. I'm sorry, you know what else is sacrilegious? This in front of the microphone. Sacrilegious. I'm sorry. All right, big news on the basketball front. Not as big to me. I saw this coming from a mile away. But what can I say? Shall I just start throwing my shit that I throw out at the dartboard in my head to you all? I don't think y'all care. I think enough people do that already. Sherman Oaks, California. Notre Dame 5-star forward and consensus #1 overall prospect Tyran Stokes has signed a multi-year NIL shoe deal with Nike. Partnering with Nike, quote unquote, means I'm joining a team, a family, and a legacy. Had a pretty sick rollout too. I like the proud of them. But for people who are not fluent in shoe company speak, that means it's a small chance, very small chance, really. I mean, there's state laws involved in everything when it comes to playing for a school who isn't sponsored by Nike, even though he signed to a Nike NIL deal, along with a couple others, which we'll touch on. And for people who don't know Tyran Stokes, haven't watched him play, I would call him the prototypical Nike archetype when it comes to, the guys they look for, the guys who do well, the #1 prospect, physically dominant, I guess projected to be the best, which Tyran is. And his game was physically stunning. So back to his recruitment, and what that means, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisville, USC, and Oregon are his top 5. If you want me to start with the Adidas teams, if you want to start with Kansas, because I'll finish with Louisville. I'm sure most of us think Kansas is in there as well. Maybe with the Kenny commitment last Sunday, and then also Bill Self's health declining. Most people think it could be one last hoorah for them over there. I'm giving them the same chances as the team they're about to scrimmage in a couple weeks. A lot of Kansas websites have already announced from their end that they think, which is Louisville, I'm sorry, that they think that they're out of the race with a Nike signing. Also, for people talking about Pat Kelsey whiffing, I guess Bill Self double whiffed? Because another one of his top recruitments, Brandon McCoy, inked an NIL deal with Nike alongside Tyran Stokes. So the whiff talk is a little far-fetched for me on both sides of 64, even on the Mark Pope end. You know, I guess because going back to the Ty Kenny thing between the two, it's just fighting in the front yard and at midnight, and neither of them got him. I don't know. I'll get onto that in a second. But I just think both of the fan bases in general, we've already done the top freshman thing when it comes to UK in the state. Both of them it seems that both of them love winning overall. They like being in the forefront and the brand and this and that. But I personally think that the transfer portal helps with that more than top-notch freshmen, insert your John Calipari joke here, which both teams did well with, and I see them continuing to do well with. So I don't think that's like a relevant point to me, the whiffing talk. So I guess while we're on Kentucky, speaking of the next school, I think Kentucky has a good chance. Just off the top of my head, when I saw this, when I really thought of Tyran Stokes more so, I'm like, I think the Wildcats have a chance. This is weird. The P.J. Washington, he was born in Louisville, grew up across the country, ended up playing college ball in Lex. And Tyran Stokes, I look at him, he has a more mature frame, more mature game at this point, but they both are players of that certain mode-ish that I enjoy. Of course, P.J. Washington's game's a little bit different, but side point. And then while we're on the Big Blue talk, look, the X talk of the day at Big Blue Bud. Now imagine adding Tyran Stokes and losing Mark Stoops in the same week. The vibes around here would be crazy. It would be crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's funny. So moving on to the next team, Louisville, which most of us want to talk about, I'm sure, has the Adidas school. A lot of people are feeling like we're just getting that normal, for us, getting that normal hat on the table treatment as a tip to the cap to the town that he was born in. We've been in that situation before, and I if it is, it is. I don't really trip on that. That's why it goes back to the shoe companies to me, man. It has a lot more power than you think it does, or it has a lot more power than we really give it, I'd say. Unless you know someone in it or kids that are in it or affected by the actual system, I don't think we give enough credence to the power that ultimately has on the decisions that the young kids make, which is a totally different conversation. But us as Louisvillians and alumni alike, we put a lot of stock in hometown love. So a lot of us, we probably give up long-term money just for the opportunity to rep the city, wouldn't we? But when you don't grow up here, is that necessarily held in such a high regard as we hold it? Like I mentioned earlier, being born here, Tyran, and growing up across the country. I mean, he grew up here to some degree. I'm not going to say he didn't, probably more than PJ, but in comparison. But we can't seriously then compare as Louisville fans and the hometown fervor this to like Weed or Griff or even up the road 64, Rondo and DA. And then especially like I talked about with the modern day basketball economics, because when one is so good, this is a serious point of everything that I want you to take away. When one is so good that they get love from everywhere, they get money from everywhere, and all the options are at their feet, I think people generally end up making the best decision for themselves when it comes to where they project and see themselves and what's the pathway to get there, you know? And that's the biggest point. Lastly, USC and Oregon, they're both viable to me. West Coast, USC's his hometown, town they grew up in. And Oregon, I mean, let's be honest, their athletic department is damn near a subsidiary for the man who cashes his checks. So then at USC, he would be joined by All-American Elijah Arenas, son of Gil's Arenas. In Oregon, he'd be joined by five-star Taj Ariza. You know, makes him interesting. And then lastly, no, I ain't gonna say lastly, in lines with the sentiments of someone I love to listen to, Steve Rummage, they're kids, so who the hell knows what they're gonna do? So that's just what it is. But shout out to him, you know, like I said, people get emotions when it comes to this stuff, but shout out to him just coming here, setting up shop at Shawnee Park, bringing eyes to our historic Dirt Bowl, bringing hope to the youth, giving them someone to look up to, having real effect with his back to school drive. It's all love. So, and like most of us, if it's all love, we want him to make the best decision for himself and for those around him. We just want us to be part of it. So, signing off.